Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to reveal will shake you to your core. We're not just talking about election irregularities, we're talking about a full-scale assault on our republic, from illegal migrants being registered to vote by the thousands to a sinister plot involving overseas ballots. The integrity of our elections is under attack like never before. The Democrats' playbook for 2024 is out, and it's more brazen and dangerous than you could ever imagine. Buckle up, because this bombshell report changes everything. And as we expose the threats to our electoral integrity, it's crucial to maintain our personal strength. Just as voter fraud drains the power of your vote, there's a common food secretly zapping your testosterone. V-Shred has uncovered this unexpected culprit that's devastating T levels nationwide. It's not junk food or sugar, it's something you've been told is healthy. By eliminating this one food, you could transform your energy levels and motivation. Don't let your vote or your vitality be stolen. Head to sculptnation.com/NNN to watch the free video revealing this testosterone-killing food. Reclaim your power just like we must reclaim our republic. You'll find it linked below. Okay, this just in. Natalie Winters posting this local report. Non-citizens now receiving flyers with instructions on how to register to vote for Harris-Walz. Look at this.
An investigation by Fox 2 finds non-U.S. citizen migrant workers are being encouraged to vote in November's presidential election. Fox Files investigator Chris Hayes found this out after an employer of migrant workers alerted him.
These union mailers were just sent to non-U.S. citizen migrant workers. They say, quote, "Stop the steal by stopping Trump's allies. Vote for Harris-Walz and pro-worker candidates." Here's 11 of the mailers addressed to non-U.S. citizens, mailed to their workplace, which alerted Fox 2. The business, which specializes in landscaping, does not want to be identified. The company's manager told us their migrant worker employees, who are from Mexico, are all background checked and have legal H-2B visas, which allow their temporary stay here. The manager explained the migrant workers are also allowed to have union representation and that they pay dues to their union, called LIUNA. But the manager cannot understand why the union would send mailers to non-U.S. citizens, encouraging their vote in the presidential election. We've tried repeatedly to get an explanation from Washington, D.C.-based union LIUNA. 3 emails to their communications department and 3 phone calls. A 4th call also went to voicemail. We checked with...
So that's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. And of course, the Democrats are absolutely consumed. They're still consumed with anyone who questions the 2020 election. I still don't understand why they continually pound this into people's heads. I can only guess is because they're planning to steal the 2024 election. And they want to continue this election denial narrative, keep it front and center, as we just saw with Kristen Welker speaking to Tom Cotton on Meet the Press.
About Hunter Biden's lap.
Different. I want to talk about one of the big moments this week from the vice presidential debate. We just played it in the open when Senator J.D. Vance refused to say that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. I want to put this question to you, Senator, just to put this to rest. Can you say definitively here and now that Donald Trump did lose the 2020 election?
Kristen, Joe Biden was elected president in 2020. It was an unfair election in many ways. I mean, you had states that were changing their election practices or election laws, sometimes in violation of their constitution. You had networks combining with big tech to suppress what we now know to be a truthful story about Hunter Biden's laptop and the evidence that it exposed about Biden family corruption. So obviously Joe Biden was elected president. We know that in part because...
But did Trump lose?
Joe Biden was elected, Kristen. There's a process by which we elect presidents. There's votes in November. You have an electoral college vote. You certify the election, and then you have the inauguration. Joe Biden was elected president. Everything has gone to hell in a handbasket as a result of it.
As you know.
Now, I just want to point out here, as I interrupt this clip, she keeps pressing him. Did Donald Trump lose the election? He never says it because he knows the election was stolen. Instead, he does a word game and says that that Biden was elected, which is essentially saying the same thing.
I mean, it has been stated that this was one of the most secure elections in U.S. history, but do you just not want to say that Trump lost? Why not just say the simple,
Kristen,
if Biden is president, can you just simply say Trump lost.
Joe Biden was elected president in 2020. That's why we have runaway inflation. That's why we have more than 10 million illegals in this country. And to go back to the point about the 2020 election, it was very irregular. You had networks, to include this networks, conspiring with big tech to suppress evidence of Biden family corruption. You had Democratic states and cities like Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia, changing their election practices on the fly. That's one reason why President Trump and the Republican National Committee is so focused on election integrity in this election, to make sure that Democrats aren't doing things like they're trying to do in Pennsylvania, counting absentee and mail-in ballots that don't have dates or that have the wrong date.
And there's no proof that that happened. And again, just to be clear, as I said initially, Trump did take his case to court more than 60 times, didn't win those cases.
Oh, give it a rest, Kristen. Even this post from September, Speaker Mike Johnson is moving forward without the SAVE Act, which we really need. But he's confirming illegal migrants are registering to vote by the thousands. Go vertical, please.
And thousands of illegals on the voter rolls right now. And here's the problem. You know, if you have just a small percentage of those millions of people that try to participate, you can throw the outcome of the election. You can throw the outcome of who has the majority in the House. I have a colleague who won her seat in Congress in 2020 by 6 votes. I've got another Republican colleague, won his race by about 250 votes. It's easy to throw these things off, and you could even affect the outcome of a presidential cycle, depending on where all those illegals are participating. Some of these swing states are a real concern. So we have to make sure that before someone registers to vote, they prove that they are a U.S. citizen, because that is existing federal law. What's happening around the country right now.
Why not get behind the SAVE Act then, right? Of course. Welfare offices across the country are registering illegal aliens to vote as part of the Biden-Harris migrant benefits package. They've been registering these migrants to vote through NGO migrant shelters. I'm going to get this clip played for you in just a moment, but I want you to see something that just happened. This 21 hours ago, college Republicans at ASU, election interference they call, 70,000 Arizona state students received a text from the Kamala Harris campaign, which is data from the Arizona state database and should be confidential. Everybody should demand answers about how this happened. And here's a screenshot of the text message that went out. Donald Trump is pointing out, calling on the lawyers at the RNC to stop all kinds of fraud that's been pointed out. Fun facts about the Democrat plan to steal elections using overseas ballots. Through the UOCAVA overseas program, you can register to vote online without providing an ID, SSN, or proof of citizenship. You can register in any state, at any address, and no one verifies whether you have ever actually lived there. Many states allow you to send your ballot via email. A recent Democrat memo announced their plan to collect 9 million overseas Democrat votes. According to a federal government report, there are only 2.8 million eligible voters overseas. In 2020, the number of civilian UOCAVA votes inexplicitly doubled from their normal average. The Democrats have spent 6 figures on the Vote from Abroad program, the rake in more unverified civilian overseas ballots this year, to rake in more. In 2020, just 44,000 votes across Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin votes won Joe Biden the presidency. Democrats only need a handful of fraudulent overseas votes to steal the election. Elon Musk asking, is this for real? And Donald Trump posts from his Truth Social, he made a point to call on the RNC to investigate that. Let's go to this clip here.
Every federal involved in distributing election materials. Some of the folks can't read or write in English. And so why don't you summarize that again, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so under the president's executive order, every federal agency has to provide voter registration forms to everyone with whom they come into contact. So these are people, a lot of times people who don't speak English or read English, and they're being handed a document by a government official and told to sign it, and so they do, and then they're registered to vote, which, by the way, is a felony offense and makes them deportable, which they often don't know. But the bigger problem is these migrant shelters. So if the NGOs running the migrant shelters are registering illegal aliens to vote, which we know that they are based on not just a New York City contract, but based on other evidence as well, then what's going to happen is the illegal aliens are using the address of the migrant shelter on their registration forms. So for any states that mail out ballots, those ballots are going to be mailed to the migrant shelters. I guarantee you that the Democrats have a plan for how to harvest those ballots. They now have a whole list of names of people they know are ineligible to vote, but are registered to vote and are going to be sent ballots. So somebody's going to fill out those ballots and they're going to be delivered to some, voter office. So what we really need to do is have election officials looking through the voter rolls for multiple people with different last names registered at the same address, and then figure out if that address is a migrant shelter, because those are non-citizens. This could be a make or break.
It's huge. The felony piece you mentioned there is no small deal either. Just give me 30 seconds on that again. It's a felony to do what?
It's a felony to vote illegally. It's also a felony to falsely claim U.S. citizenship, which they're doing by checking the box and signing their name under penalty of perjury. So if you register to vote, you've committed a felony. If you vote, you've committed another felony, and you are deportable after that. And so this is an important public service announcement. Non-citizens, legal or illegal, non-citizens are ineligible to vote, and it is a felony
involved in distributing.
It is a felony. So Democrats are clearly setting these people up to commit voter fraud. Here's a video talking about how it was discovered that many illegals were using the same social security number to vote.
On a piece of paper, we discovered 10,000 people using the exact social security number. See if this one rings true. You take an illegal, you bring them in. They sign a piece of paper promising to pay taxes. What they get is a social security number, so the employers can take out the taxes. Put a pin in that. Here's what they do. In cities like this, let's think of a chicken processor. They will bring in hundreds of illegals. They will spread them out across all of these plants and factories, giving them jobs. They're all using the same social security number. The IRS unconnected our names from the social security number. Now when you look it up, it just pings to see if there's an employer. If there is, it says it's good, it validates it. Why do they do that? Because all of these factories are giving them social security numbers. The government turns its back on it. As soon as you have a social security number and you go over to motor voter, pass the driver's test, right? You get a driver's license. The person looks, you got a social, you must be a citizen. That's how they pack the rolls. By the way, those guys don't pay taxes anyway. It's taken out by companies. Our government's been sitting on $1.7 trillion slush fund that one fund has still in it to this day.
It's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. Here's another one. Brian, go vertical with this. Kamala campaign pressuring non-citizens to vote. Biden and Harris have been registering migrants to vote. Biden signed an EO authorizing government agencies to reach out to register everyone they can. Listen to this firsthand witness.
Don't hate on her. So I have a friend from Venezuela that I work with, and she told me something very interesting today. For background, she came here during the Trump administration when they started taking refugees from Venezuela, so she came as a refugee. She is a doctor of many, many years. She's a gastroenterologist in Venezuela. And she's brilliant, and I love her. She's my friend. She's one of the good ones. So don't hate on her. But we were talking about the 2020 election today. Can we say that? Are we not going to get banned? I hope not, but we were talking about that today. And she showed me today and she told me, oh, I know they cheated in the 2020 because they've been sending me emails to register to vote to a email account that she opened in Venezuela many years ago, and that she used for immigration communication when she applied to come here because she came here legally. And she showed me the emails and she had a bunch of Kamala Harris registered to vote, Kamala Harris campaign. And I'm like, wait, are you a permanent resident or are you a citizen? She's like, no. She said, I'm not even a permanent resident yet. Like, she hasn't gotten her papers yet. And she knows that she's not allowed to vote and it's illegal for her to vote, but she's receiving these emails. Unless the White House or the DHS sold her information to a third party, because, you know, it's possible. Why would they send her emails from Kamala's campaign if they know she is not a legal citizen? Can someone explain to me why are they sending non-citizens emails to register to vote and to vote for Kamala Harris? Because I get those emails, but I was a registered Democrat before, so I still get those emails. And she has never registered to vote in her life because obviously she's not a citizen and she knows that. So can someone explain to me where would they get her email from? And she didn't get any emails from Donald Trump's campaign, which is, you know, if that was fair, she would get some from his campaign. Only from her campaign. I thought that was weird, but can someone explain to me why that might happen? So,
you see that one
from Venezuela.
So what do you think about that? I mean, I just ran through a whole series of examples. Laura Loomer asking the question, did Michael Crow, the president of ASU, give the Kamala Harris campaign access to the data of 70,000 ASU students? She tags Michael Crow, and she says, did you know he's the chairman of the board of InQtel, the Central Intelligence Agency's venture capital firm? Election interference, 70,000 ASU students. Good news is President Donald Trump now leads Kamala Harris by 6% in Pennsylvania in betting markets just a day after Elon Musk attended his rally in Butler. Elon Musk pointing out Trump is now leading Kamala by 3% in betting markets, more accurate than polls as actual money's on the line. And also, this is really cool. For every person you refer, this is Elon Musk setting this up. For every person who you refer who is a swing state voter, you get $47 easy money. Elon's America PAC is offering $47 for each registered voter you refer in a swing state that signs this petition. Yep. That's happening. Elon Musk, $47 for each registered voter you refer in a swing state that simply signs a petition. The fraud and theft of the election using multiple strategies by Democrats is like a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole. Carrie Lake even pointing out what I brought up earlier about Trump's call to the lawyers of the RNC. She says she sounded the alarm on this as well. This should be number one concern and effort of the RNC Vote Project. And here is, this is a new ad from Kamala Harris, but first let's listen to a brief snippet from Melania.
Here we are. We are on, 30 days from the election, and people will decide what they would like for this country.
But are you ready?
We are ready. We are here.
A very rare interview Melania Trump gave just over the weekend. And here is that new ad. I mean, Elon Musk, pardon me, but Elon Musk, he is really out there. He's pushing back on this fraudulent voting. Action is being taken to stop fraudulent voting in Arizona. I'm glad he's on top of this. Here's a new ad that was just released about Kamala Harris.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
It's just a new way of looking at things to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, and that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, a carbon fee.
That's what they want. They want to raise your taxes. They want to tax the carbon, the air you breathe, and take away your free speech. And they're doing it all with all the millions of people that they just let in this open border. And I just gave you several examples of that, plus what they're doing at Arizona State. So there you have it, folks. The plot to steal our republic laid bare, from welfare offices registering illegal aliens to vote to the manipulation of overseas ballots. It's clear the integrity of our elections is hanging by a thread. But the fight is not over. I want to hear from you. What steps do you think need to be taken to secure our elections and ensure that every legal vote counts? How can we as citizens protect the sanctity of our republic? Sound off in the comments below.